Good evening, nerds. Welcome back to this year's only episode of Lyra's Eurovision Corner. If you're new here, last year I did loads of videos on that year's Eurovision season. Did about 20 individual reviews of loads of songs from that year, as well as a big top 37 video. In general, I spent a lot of my time that year completely obsessed with Eurovision, listening to the songs constantly, making all these videos, and it all sort of culminated in probably the worst Eurovision week I remember. I've got to be honest, being a Eurovision fan last year, it was not a lot of fun. The whole Joost Klein disqualification drama and the way information about that was sort of drip-fed to the fans by the EBU, and all the political drama which Eurovision's super wonderful and accepting fandom took way too seriously. I experienced such a disconnect between the general quality of the songs from that year, which still is like my favourite Eurovision year in recent memory, just on the basis of the songs, and all the bullshit and the drama that surrounded it, and I sort of took a vow to not obsess over it as much this year. So no individual song reviews. I'm gonna listen to the songs on my own time, form my opinion on them, and do this one big video at the end of the season, and that's it. So now here we are with Eurovision week fast approaching, and I can say I think this year is actually pretty good as well. I feel like a lot of people decided very early on that this was sort of a weak year, and I agree that a lot of these songs were not sort of as immediately hard-hitting as the songs from last year were, but I will say most of this of songs I actually quite like, or even really like. There's only a couple that I don't vibe with at all. As always, if you're new here, first and foremost, I am a music nerd. First of all, I've got to be honest, I don't really give a shit about staging or outfits or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying I've got zero appreciation for them when I'm watching the contest on the night, but it's not going to influence my opinion on the songs themselves. Sure, I'll be seeing them on the Eurovision stage like 2-3 times if they win at most, but I'm going to be listening to them on my headphones or my speakers like 50 times, and that's what matters the most to me, and it's always going to matter more to me, I think. In that sense, I think my perspective on Eurovision is generally a bit different from most YouTubers. And lastly, I should just say this is an opinion video. This is not a prediction. I think that's going to become very clear very early on. I'd love to have some interesting conversations with people down below about what your rankings are, why you agree or disagree with my views. That'd be really cool. But if you're the sort of person who's going to be like, you're objectively wrong, this song is actually good, get the fuck out of here. This is not the video for you. I think I should just start the video at this point. So yeah, these are my least favourite Eurovision songs of this year. It's a top 37, and just to do something really unique that the other YouTubers don't do, I'm actually going to start my top 37 at 37 and not at 36. Wow. Okay, here we go. Well, it's Imagine Dragons, but worse. And I will say the average level of quality of an Imagine Dragons song in 2025, I would say, is already about here. So given that it's worse, I'm sorry, I can't think of a single positive thing to say about this song. I just really, really do not like it. And it delivers what I would say is the cringiest line in the entire contest this year. I'm a survivor. Stay alive. Stay alive? Stay alive? Is it like turning it into a verb, like a stay alive, one who stays alive? It's such an incredibly forced rhyme. Do or die in my prime, I'm a fight. I just can't take this seriously. I'm sorry, it's so stupid. I'm not saying I don't get what it's going for, but I'm also not going to pretend that it doesn't fail miserably. No thank you. Next. C'est la vie, she sang to me. Je me rappelle, j'étais petit. I actually genuinely wonder if this one's going to be controversial, because I talked to a couple Dutch people and they don't seem that happy with this song either. Claude is a great singer, has got a wonderful voice, but really that's sort of the only positive thing that I can say about this song. It's also not that I really hate it, like already it doesn't get to me in the way that Survivor does. It's just kind of generic, overproduced, and I think the sort of French-English language mixing is incredibly awkward. I was just a little boy, but I remember La Mélodie. When I hear this, I can't help but burst into laughter. I'm sorry, I know it's trying to be genuine, it doesn't work for me at all. It's not that I inherently have a problem with sort of clever mixing of languages. In fact, I think it can be really cool when songs do that. I just don't think it works in this specific case. Editing Lyra here to add one point to this. I think my issue is just that this song takes itself so seriously, and in order to pull off the sort of effortless, casual language mixing, you need to be at least a little jokey. It's why it works in songs like Espresso Macchiato, which I talk about later. It's just this song carries so much emotional weight, so much attempt at depth, and then it goes La Mélodie, and I just cannot take it seriously anymore. And maybe I could excuse that if I really like the production, but I just don't. It feels really sterile and cheesy and just trying too hard, to be honest. Maybe there's also just some level of disappointment involved because I really thought the Netherlands were onto something with last year's entry. I mean, we all know how that went, but the song itself I think was a fucking banger and the best thing the Netherlands has sent in quite a long time. I seriously had it with all the middle of the road pop entries, and this just feels like another middle of the road pop entry. Like, have they learned nothing? I don't know, I guess not. I'm not saying like you can't send anything but like hard-style Gabba songs again from now, but just something that doesn't feel like an attempt to recapture the fucking arcade vibe, you know? It would be really nice. So many incredible bands and musicians in the Netherlands. De Staat, Eve Visser, metal bands too that I think might actually do really well. But that would require them taking a risk, and it's become quite obvious that Avrotros does not really like taking risks, and when they finally do, that risk is disqualified, which I guess doesn't really help my case here. No shade to Claude as a musician, but I really, really hope that next year's Dutch entry is going to excite me more, that's all.
I'm an ocean of love, and you're scared of water.
Yay, it's time for this year's Queen of Kings award for a song that everybody likes, but I don't at all. Last year, as you might remember, it went to Luktelk. This year, it's going to this. Now, you might be thinking, Lyra, are you just saying this to be a contrarian? And the answer is no. I'm saying this because listening to this song makes me feel like I am made of glass, and I am about to break. Now, let me be clear, I have nothing inherently against opera elements in Eurovision songs because I put The Code at number 3 last year, and I was really happy with that win. However, there's just something about this song and something about JJ's vocals that hits me in a way that is genuinely kind of painful, and I think this might genuinely be a me problem. Like, I've got this friend with misophonia, right, and whenever I crumple up some aluminium foil a bit wrong near her, she sort of jolts up in pain. I generally don't have such a response to sounds. I will say I think I'm a bit more sensitive to sound than the average person in that it very easily distracts me, but it doesn't generally hurt unless it's just really loud. But something about JJ's voice in this song triggers a fight or flight response in my brain, and I don't know why, but it just does. I'm not sure how much of that is to do with just his singing style, how much of it is to do with the way his vocals are produced, I don't know. And I will say, just purely on an instrumental level, there's quite a decent bit to like about this song. I especially love the sort of techno freak out at the end, where the tempo just ramps up and the beats come in. Like, that's not something that they needed to add to the song if they wanted to just be safe, but they did, and I think that's kind of a stroke of genius, to be honest. But yeah, unfortunately, the vocals, the singing style, they just make it impossible for me to enjoy this song. And I mean, I will say as well, if this somehow wins the whole thing, I would be quite disappointed, because in a sense it just feels like The Code again. I mean, it is a different song, sure, but it has a lot in common with The Code in that it also is going for a really impressive vocal first. Except The Code actually had great production to back that, had a fantastic song that I still regularly get stuck in my head. And this song just, I think, is worse on a compositional level, and also the fact that it's going for such an impressive vocal actually makes me enjoy it less. So yeah, this is why it's my third last. I'm probably going to be the only YouTuber who has it this low, but my video, my rules. Okay, now we've already reached the category of songs that I don't really hate per se, I just don't really feel a need to return to them either. I think this song is fine, the way it's constructed is okay, if a bit messy. There's some melodies in there that I think are pretty good, but that's sort of counterbalanced by the English lyrics in the second half that feel very word salady. Unfortunately, quite a common problem for Georgia at this point, and it just makes it harder for me to take the song as seriously as I probably should be. But yeah, this song in general, it just kind of passes by ineffectually. I don't hate it whilst it's on, but I'm never going to seek it out. I was optimistic going into this song, but I've got to be honest, it doesn't really do very much for me. Mostly because more than anything, I think it's pretty obvious that this song is just meant to sort of soundtrack what's happening on stage. Like, this is meant to be accompanied by a visual, and just by itself, it kind of just feels like 6 different songs sort of thrown together, and the end result, none of it really grabs me. In that bunch of ideas, there's certainly a couple of good ones, but they all just feel kind of underdeveloped. So yeah, I don't know, maybe it's going to be cool on stage, but just by itself, I can't really say I like this very much.
Volevo essere un duro che non gli importa del futuro, un robot, un lottatore di sumo, uno spaccino in fuga da un cane lupo.
Italy's entry for this year is not actually the guy that won Sanremo, but the guy who came in second. And I mean, Italy gonna Italy, they're always gonna send something that their audience likes, and whether or not it does well at Eurovision, it doesn't really seem to me like it matters very much. And that's fine, I respect that. I mean, I think there have been some great Italian entries over the years. This one does less for me. I don't hate it. I think it's a perfectly pleasant little soft rock song. But would I ever listen to it outside of my Eurovision playlist? Probably not, no. But yeah, a fine song, I guess. It's okay. This is another song that's seen quite a lot of hype in the fan community. I don't really agree, to be honest. I think it's fine, but there's a few too many points in the song where it gets a bit too close to sort of Survivor territory for me. I will say it's not nearly as bad, production is much better, it's a better constructed song, but it goes for a huge, impactful vibe without really having a lot to say, I feel like. But I guess it's also just like, for sometimes kind of nebulous reasons, this sort of bombastic, clean, precise pop production, it either hits me well or it really doesn't, and in this case it just doesn't. Also, in the bridge it sort of switches time signatures, which initially I really liked, but I feel like that idea is abandoned way too quickly. They do so little with it, and then the song just kind of switches back to its normal state. Just feels like a wasted opportunity. I feel like a lot more could have been done with that. That's one plus I have to give to Wasted Love. It goes in a completely different direction at the end, and it nails it, even if I don't like the vocal. Whereas this song briefly seems like it's going to do that, and then it just sort of goes back to the status quo. But yeah, it's alright, it just doesn't really hit me the way it seems to be hitting a lot of other people.
Nasmij se, izdrži sve, proći će. Izdrži sve, proći će, nasmij se.
Just for some context, this was not the song that initially won the national selection in Montenegro. The band in first place was at risk of being disqualified, but then they withdrew on their own terms. I don't know, I just remember saying to my friend, oh wow, Montenegro replaced their boring song with another boring song. But credit where it's due, this song has grown on me. I'm not really usually a huge sucker for ballads, especially not these sort of big Balkan ballads. Occasionally there's one that hits me right, the others I think are usually just sort of fine. But I will say Nina's vocal is fantastic. She's obviously one of the best vocalists in the contest. And the way the song sort of swells near the end with the strings, it's genuinely really epic. Also not really something I could see myself listening to outside of the contest, but for what it is, I think it's done rather well.
Mila, ti si platila što volim te ja. Mila, život vratila sa ruba.
Something completely different from Serbia this year, and I will say in about the first minute I was kind of skeptical because it just seemed like another Balkan ballad. But after that, it goes for more of a rock vibe, which I think actually works quite well. Great vocal as well from Prince. I feel like he really sells the song. I don't know what it's about, but it feels like it has pretty high stakes. The sort of gospel vocals at the end are also great. It's still sort of in that dangerous category for me of sort of bombastic songs that might be a little overdone, but I feel like of those songs, this is the one that does the best job of it. This song would be at least 5 places higher in my ranking if it didn't employ one of the biggest Eurovision pet peeves that I have, which is like a chorus in English for no obvious reason, except, I guess, to sort of create mass appeal, but then the English pronunciation is so imperfect, let's say, that I don't think anybody actually understands. Like, sure, they call me Gaia, but beyond that, I genuinely had no idea what she was saying until I looked it up. Now, I will say, given that this is coming out the mouth of a person who has a very strong British accent, this might seem like a very privileged piece of criticism to make. But I just don't understand why you would do it. The song would be better, legitimately better, if it was just all in Polish. I love the Polish verses, I love the Polish chorus. The English adds nothing. In fact, giving the sort of folklore elements, I think the Slavic language actually suits that super well, and English really only takes me out of it. This is all just to say, stop adding English choruses for no good reason. I genuinely don't think anybody prefers this. It's just a pet peeve, I guess. I don't know, but it really takes down my enjoyment of this song. Beyond that, though, I think this is quite good. Like, Justina is a star. I always like these sort of fantasy folklore-y songs that really sort of draw me into their world. So yeah, pretty good song. Just feels like it would have benefited from some more Bubur Kurva. That's all. Oh, look at that. Ireland's becoming the new San Marino. Just for context, this song is by Emmy, who is from Norway, is, as far as I know, not Irish, does not have Irish family. Just decided to compete in the Irish national final and won it. Like, good on her. And she does it with a song that I kind of like. I think that's sort of the best description for it. It's a fun dance song. It puts me in a good mood. Very rarely am I like, ugh, I don't want to hear this one. But it does potentially lean a bit too hard into the cheese and not really the good kind of cheese. And the lyrics, they just feel a bit clunky to me in places. Like, I hope Laika never died and that she spins around us still. It's one of the wordiest choruses I can think of in this year of Eurovision, and it really feels like it's trying super hard to hammer home the point that, yes, this is about Laika, the space dog. Remember the space dog? This is about her. It's very wordy, very literal, which makes it a bit awkward at points. But I do have to admit, the sort of bum bum, ba-da-dum bum 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 is absurdly catchy, so there's that. Not the best thing Ireland's ever sent, but certainly not the worst either. It's fine. I'm genuinely surprised that I'm putting this low. I mean, it was never going to be my winner, but when this came out, I really liked it. But yeah, I don't know, it was a song that had a lot of initial impact for me, but then the more I listened to it, the more I sort of soured on it. I'm honestly having a hard time telling you why. It's just a song that I guess is easy to get sick of. Like, it feels like this year's We Will Rave in a sense, like a song that sometimes I really feel like listening to, but when I hear it at the wrong time, it kind of just pisses me off. And also, I've got to be completely honest, when the Cypriot entry was released, I kind of forgot that this song existed in record time, because it just feels like a better version of this. I'm sorry. It goes for a similar sort of thumping techno vibe, but I just think it's done better in pretty much every way. Pretty cool song though. I can see it doing well, but I've got to be honest, if I never hear it in my life, I would be fine with that. Sorry.
Y a plus d'amant, y a plus de lit. Finalement, tu vois, j'ai construit ma vie.
This song is good. I think I'm just not really in the target audience. I feel like that goes for a lot of France's entries over the past few years. It's like, they're good. I can sort of, on an objective songwriting level, see that they're good. They just don't really do a lot for me personally. They're just not stylistically what I look for in a Eurovision song. It's a big emotional ballad, it comes from the heart. It's done well, it doesn't really take a lot of risks, but what it does well enough. Honestly, I can't even really name a single bad thing about this song. It's just not really what I generally choose to listen to in my daily life, that's all.
How much time do we have left together? We never know.
Honestly, exact same thing here. This isn't like the classic Slovene ballad in a sense that Maman was the classic French ballad, but it goes for a similar sort of thing. It's good. It's not really something I would generally put on, but it's good. This song is one spot higher because it's got a couple extra moments that made me go like, this is actually a cool melody. But just in general, good song. I'm just not really in the target audience, that's all.
Conto os dias para mim, com a mala arrumada, já quase não cabia, saudade acumulada.
Now we get to sort of the quite good tier, the songs that I at least really like, and the first of those is Portugal. This one didn't really do very much for me upon first listen, but it's really grown on me since. It's a really nice pop rock song, lovely melodies, beautiful lyrics. Whenever I listen to it, honestly, I'm like, how have I only got this at 23? But then I listen to all the other songs and I'm like, okay, these are all like even better. So yeah, and not really a slight on this song, honestly. It's good. Just, you know, pretty good year, I think. So there's even better songs coming up.
And even if you say goodbye, you'll never go away. You are the rainbow in my sky, my colors in the grey.
New Day Will Rise by Yuval Raphael is a song that I think is quite good in a vacuum, but it does leave me with feelings that are a bit more mixed than they should be, because I feel like it's a bit too much of a retread of Hurricane from last year. I feel like I've got sort of the same issue that I have with the Dutch entry as well. Even though I far prefer this song, it still seems like kind of a safe choice. It also was once again written by Karen Bellers, who sure, is talented. Really the only issue that I have with the writing is that I think it's kind of a missed opportunity that the second verse is just the first verse translated into French. But do we need her to write a song for Israel 2 years in a row? I don't really think we do. And that makes it sort of hard to rank this for me, because I think if this were the 2024 entry, I would have had it in like 15th, somewhere around that. It is a bit lower for me just because I wish it was more different from Hurricane. I wish it had more of its own musical identity, more of its own lyrical identity. I also feel like that would have done more justice to Yuval as a singer, because as I said, she's very talented, and that's one of the things that is different about this song. She's got a completely different voice to Eden Golan, and I think she would really shine on a song that feels more like it's hers and less like it's once again just a song that was given to her by the producers. I've got to be honest, I'm also just not a huge fan of the way that Eurovision participants are chosen by the Israeli broadcaster, because they're chosen through a show that places all the emphasis on the voice. But she's then just given a song and nobody knows what that song is during the selection process. She's just chosen for her voice and then she gets a song. And I mean, it's the Eurovision Song Contest, not the Eurovision Vocal Contest. They really struck gold last year with Hurricane, which was just a fantastically written song that really touched me. And this song is just good. It's good. I like it. I find it very difficult to say negative things about it just outside of the context of this, because I think it's a good song. I just find it really hard to talk about my opinion on this song sort of without that additional context. But yeah, I like it. I like listening to it, but it's not one of my top favourites this year, sorry. This is just a great fun dance song. It hits all the right notes. It's not particularly deep and maybe it's trying a little too hard to be like a tattoo type song, but it's fun. It's not the best thing here, but I'm still pretty into it, I'd say.
Let's go!
This one is just good vibes. It's simple fun. The lyrics are about rowing a boat, which, sure, why the fuck not? I love the combination of the folky violin with sort of the pumping 6/8 beat. It hits the sort of neo-traditional thing that I usually like a lot. There's kind of a cheesy key change at the end, but I can't even dislike it. It's just too much fun. Another very cool and actually quite daring song from Greece. I loved Zari last year and I really like this too. Claudia's vocals are great, the production is fantastic. I love the folktronica sound, as I always do. I love the drums. Really cool song. Is only at number 19 because I like the next ones even more.
Somewhere along the way I lost my mind. I had to walk 100,000 miles.
I'm a little annoyed this is here, not gonna lie, because there was a song in Melody Grand Prix called Parasite by LLL, which already is one of my favourite songs of the entire year. But as soon as I got past that, I realised that this is also quite good. It's an accessible pop song, but it doesn't feel too basic. It's really catchy, and it's also just extremely well produced. Like, listening to this on headphones, I think is quite an experience. Cool song, I approve.
Mamma, stasera non ritorno, ma sicuro finisco in qualche letto, poi dormo.
I went back and forth on this song for a while, thinking, is this like really stupid or is it actually just a total banger? I've settled on the latter. It's so much fun. This is by one of the guys who made Blue Dabba Dee, which, first of all, I would like to say that that song is an underrated masterpiece. You can't call a song with that iconic of a melody like bad or cringe, like holy shit. Come on, just, we need to accept that that song is like an all-timer. But also, yeah, you can tell it goes for a similar sort of nonsense fun vibe, and I quite like it, I've got to say. It's a massive earworm, I can't not move when I listen to it, and also it's quite funny that this was the theme song for Italy's San Remo Festival, and then it just kind of snuck into the San Marino selection and it just fucking won. Like, okay, San Marino's just an agent of chaos in this contest. So, hell yeah, is my conclusion. Tutta l'Italia, tutta l'Italia, tutta l'Italia. Just imagine that whole rant about Gaia, I do it again here, except I'm really not as bothered by it because this is so good of a song and such a unique entry for Ukraine, but also just for the contest in general. This goes for sort of a prog rock vibe, and I love prog rock. I've got a Steven Wilson poster. This song really takes you on a journey. It like keeps throwing chords at you that seem to come out of nowhere, but they just work really well. I absolutely love the sort of traditional Ukrainian group vocal bits that are like at the start and in the middle. I think those are the absolute best bits of the song. It's not a perfect song, but it's still one that I find really enjoyable, and I really do have to give props to Ukraine because I wonder if any other country would have been able to even send this song, but they just get away with it and they're going to qualify because of course they're going to qualify. Ukraine always qualifies because they always send bangers like these. So yeah, only in 16th, but it's still a song that I have a lot of respect for. This is just a really well-produced, well-constructed little pop song. I really like it. It doesn't immediately seem like the most standout song, but I feel like all the bits add up to like a great, complete package. I especially love whatever string instrument that is in the post-choruses. If you know, please tell me in the comments, but yeah, that bit's so catchy, so good. The chorus itself is a huge earworm as well. Love this. I don't know how well it's going to do, but I certainly wish it well.
Mes yeux condés découvrent le monde d'une façon naïve à faire confondre les démons de la nuit.
This is just such a beautiful, lovely, dreamlike song. It's another ballad in French. Why does this one work for me more than Maman does? I don't really know. But yeah, it just puts a smile on my face every single time. And the bridge especially, when it really opens up and it goes for that big moment, but only briefly. And then it sort of comes down, but it's just, like, it's not a disappointing come down, it's just wonderful. It's all wonderful. It's a cute song, it's a lovely song, it brings positive vibes that I think we could all use, honestly. This is the host entry, so of course it's going to do terribly, but it deserves better. Come on, this is great. Oh yes, I'm always in the market for this sort of Vesta, My Sister's Crown type female harmony group vocal stuff. It just always hits me right. I love it. And this song is really interesting and a very daring entry too. Like it's got sort of this unnerving, brooding vibe about it. Like it sort of sizzles like under the surface. At some points it actually has a bit of a house quality to it, even though this is very obviously a folk song, and it's not like the production is very housey. It's just the vocals are so like repetitive, and it seems like they're sort of designed to induce hypnosis. And certainly for me, it's working. I could see this being sort of a love it or hate it entry, but I'm certainly in the first camp.
What the hell just happened?
Another great song from the UK. I think they've been killing it recently. Clearly a lot of the Eurovision watching audience doesn't agree with me, but hey, fuck you guys. This song is just a bundle of joy. And I love the composition. I love how it constantly switches tempo and sort of intensity and style, and it's just so well made, and the vocals are great as well. It really pulls you into the story from the get-go. It's a very dramatic, almost sort of musical theatre type song, and those don't always work for me, but this one really does. Love this, absolutely love this. It's never not gonna make me happy.
Why should we let other people decide when we could be having the time of our lives?
First of all, screw you EBU for first allowing this song as is and then deciding to ban it anyway because of a complaint from a certain broadcaster. You guys just don't like fun. Come on, it's such a fantastic pun. And the song is great too, just another piece of perfectly polished pop from Malta. There have, in my opinion, been cases where that polished pop sounded a bit too clinical over the past few years, but this really hits that sweet spot that, like, for example, Je me casse also did. The production's great, the composition is fantastic. This is going to get a bit music theory Beato of me, but the first couple choruses have just the single root note, and then the last chorus has like a whole descending progression, and it feels really epic and like sort of a moment of release because the whole song's been building to that point. And it's just fantastic. Whenever I hear that last chorus, I'm like, oh hell yeah. And the verses are cool too, and it's got a great message. I mean, what's not to love? Love this. I can see it doing quite well, and it deserves it. Damn, this really is something different. I mean, over the past few years, there's been more and more rock and metal in Eurovision, but this still feels like a huge left turn. But oh my god, it pulls it off. This is such a good song. I unfortunately don't really think it's going to have any mass appeal, but like, I know it's going to have some fans like me who are really passionate about it. I love the dark, moody, sinister vibe and the guitars that just build to a wonderful climax. And the vocals, they just suit the vibe so incredibly well. I also love that it's in Lithuanian. This is the sort of thing I otherwise would have never discovered, and it's fantastic. The fact that it's only at number 10 again goes to show that I think this is a really underrated and quite strong year, because all songs from this point are songs that I just absolutely love.
Come and take a sip from my special cup. I heard that you could use a little pick-me-up.
What a fucking banger, holy shit. Gojo is just a presence. Like, his delivery is absolutely infectious. It goes from this sort of sultry to absolutely batshit insane. And it works so well over this huge, loud, aggressively sidechained instrumental, which, by the way, this was co-written by the band Shepherd, who you might know from their song Geronimo. It's certainly in my corner of Europe, it was quite a big hit last decade. They also provide some epic backing vocals, and just the entire package, it's so wonderfully weird and fun and intense, and oh my god. It says a lot that I love this so much, because I'm generally not a huge fan of milkshakes or men, but yeah, it works for me. Erika Wigman is a fucking queen. I'm so glad she's finally made it to Eurovision, and she's made it with a song that is, again, rather daring in several ways. I mean, it's a female empowerment anthem, which we can't have enough of in this world, but also just on a compositional level, this is kind of a strange song, but it works really well. There's some really interesting chord changes in here, like it never completely goes in the direction that you would expect it to go. It's not as weird as like a Bird of Prey, but it's still kind of weird, and it has this edge. I'm also just generally a huge fan of Finnish pop music, so yeah, obviously I'm in the Target demo, and I can't emphasize it enough, Erika is a fucking queen. And the way it just suddenly cuts off at the end, apparently that was just because like the demo was a bit too long and they had to shorten it, so they just cut the last bit off. But it feels like such an intentional stroke of genius. It's a perfect ending to the song. Love this, and it's a big middle finger to all the prudes that are going to be watching on the night, and I just can't not love that.
La poupée monte le son. Na 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 na. Retiens bien la leçon. Na 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 na.
I didn't really like this song at first. I feel like it went a bit too far in the sort of campy direction. It was very musical theatre in a way that just kind of hit me wrong. But the more and more I listened to it, the more I've become obsessed. I was a huge fan of Fighter. I actually went to Luxembourg a couple months ago to see Tully live. She delivered a fantastic show, by the way. And actually, Laura Thorne was there and did like a verse of Fighter, and then they duetted the chorus, which was really cool to see. But yeah, initially I thought this song was kind of a letdown. It felt very musical theatre-y in a way that I thought was sort of borderline cringe. But the more I listened to it, the more I've just been, it's become impossible to deny that I really love this song. It's got so many fantastic melodies that just help make it a giant earworm. It's like a nice wink to a Eurovision classic, but it does its own thing. It's not just a retread of Poupée de Cire, Poupée de Sang. I will admit it's got a certain youthful energy that might hit some people wrong, and the fact that my first reaction was also not that positive might be a bad sign, because most people watching Eurovision have not sort of listened to these songs 20 times beforehand and overanalyzed them. So I unfortunately concede this ending up relatively low, or possibly not even qualifying, but for what it's worth, I fucking love it. It's already by far one of my most listened Eurovision songs of this year, and that's clearly not going to change.
Una diva sencilla como un simple mortal. Una diva no pisa nadie para brillar.
Spain back at it with once again one of my favourite entries in the entire contest. They did it last year with Thora, and they're doing it this year too. Once again, like Thora, this song is wildly underrated. There's some flamenco guitar in there, but it very quickly becomes clear that it's also going for a big boomy dance pop vibe, and it just absolutely nails it. The song was revamped a couple months in, and honestly I think they just made it even better. There's some huge bass swells that just make the entire room rumble, like woo, and it's so good. It complements the song so well, and that chorus is an all-timer. It's so memorable and catchy. This song is just impossible not to love for me. I really hope it does well. Please vote for this. Holy shit, Germany, you've sent something good. Surprisingly, to me anyway, Isaac actually did rather well last contest. I thought that song was really boring, not gonna lie, and that sort of applied to all the German entries from this decade. Even the ones that I liked more, I still thought were not really that interesting. But this song is actually so good. It has blown my mind. It's a really interesting song. It's sort of in a middle ground between like R&B, hip-hop influenced pop of today and sort of more retro synth pop stuff. The vocal manipulation is really cool. I also love that it's in German. The German language suits this sort of genre really well. It's just the sort of song I just can't sit still when I'm listening to this. I need to move because I'm vibing to it so hard. Such a cool fucking song. Honestly, can't say this enough. It's so good. So good.
I've got golden locks and eyes so captivating. I am famous for my beauty. Who am I?
Possibly the most underrated song of this entire contest. I feel like it's really sort of flown under the radar, and I don't know why, because it is perfect. It's just such a perfect sort of techno pop type song, and it builds so much suspense, and not just in its lyrics, because like they're talking about this mystery person, you don't know who it is, but also just the music suits that really well. The chorus is fantastic, the synths sound great. It's a song that really gets me pumped. It like hypes me up to 11. I love the bridge as well, where it all just sort of slows down and you get these really vibey synths, and it goes completely quiet and you go shh, and then it explodes again. And the song is just, it's filled with little hooks that just get stuck inside your head. There are so many in this song. But yeah, somehow there's 3 songs that I like even more, so let's see what they are.
Mi amore, espresso macchiato, 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 por favore.
I can't. Should this be at number 3? Probably not, but oh my god, I just can't resist this fucking song. It is hilarious, but also insanely catchy. It is already one of my most listened songs of the year. I have been listening to it since it was announced as a participant for the Estonian national final. It has that perfect balance of like funny and unserious, but also genuinely really well composed and produced. And like, it's so quotable. No stresso, no need to be depresso. If I had a nickel for every time I've quoted that in the past couple months, I would be filthy rich. It's just irresistible to me, this song. A lot of people will probably consider it cringe, maybe even a bit try hard. That's fine, but it works for me, and it works oh so well. One of the first songs that were announced for the contest, I immediately loved it. It has never left my top 3. What a song. I think this might be my favourite Albanian entry ever. And they did it. That thing that I'm asking the Netherlands to do, that I'm asking Israel to do, they did it. They sent something completely different. And it's fantastic. It's kind of a Folktronica thing, which, gotta be honest, that's one of my favourite types of Eurovision songs. It always works for me. This is no exception. But also, it's not just another shum, you know? It goes for more of a quiet bombast. It's not another hard-hitting house banger. It's more subdued, but it still hits that perfect sort of hybrid of electronics and traditional sounds. I love the sort of rap is not really the word, like spoken word verse in the middle. It's really sinister and cool. It's a perfectly executed song that I just don't see myself ever getting enough of. As I said, it's more sort of subdued and understated, which makes me sort of fear that this might not do particularly well, but I really hope it does, because god damn it deserves it. And now for my very obvious, very basic first place, which is... It just had to be this. It had to be this. I was debating, should I put Sierra at number 1, but that would just be the contrarian in me speaking, because this song, it's impossible to deny how much of a masterpiece this song is. It again strikes that balance that I think Espresso Macchiato strikes, which is that it's funny, but it's also genuinely well composed. But this song is just on another level. This is my drug. I need to listen to this song regularly in order to feel good. It is like one of my baseline needs. That chorus is a stroke of genius. It's one of the catchiest things I've heard in a long time. Clearly, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's also just so genuinely incredible, and that mixture is something that feels rare. So when a song really nails it, I find it all the more impressive. A lot has been said about this song. I don't really feel a need to say all of it again. I feel like this isn't just a song. It's also a sign that Eurovision is changing, because when even Sweden are not sending their safe pop entries anymore, you know that people are demanding something different and that that's working. And I'm so happy that this incredible song made it out of Melodifestivalen and is being performed at Eurovision. And let's be honest, it's got a very good chance of winning, and it would deserve it. So please let this song win. It would make my entire decade. That is all. Please tell me in the comments how you feel. This isn't just engagement baiting, I really am curious. If you like this, please do subscribe down below as well for at least another one of these ranking videos next year, maybe more, I don't know, I can't promise anything. I will make these videos when I feel like it. But this is a video that I always enjoy making, that I always enjoy looking back on, so I'm certainly going to keep doing it. I hope you all enjoy Eurovision. I hope it's a bit less calamitous than the last one was. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing all these songs on stage. Thank you for watching, and good night. Sauna.
Serving